we had to get Ratcliffe's out, who's a fantastic company locally that looks after us in terms of recovery, because it does happen.
I just said to Tom when he turned up, he just ruined my day because I've not seen him all summer. I thought I was going to manage to avoid him.
Oh crumbs, what day is it today, Tom? Where are we? Tuesday. Yeah. This is the thing about harvest, you lose your days. You just can't, and you have to keep asking everyone, what day is it today? So you can't remember. I know how Paul likes to exaggerate. Come on, Simon.
Yeah.
Give us the room of doom.
6 inches.
Okay, so yeah. So some Carberries have just come in and they've put the last of the tanks in, so we now got the 24 tanks in there. So pretty pleased actually how that looks. A couple of valves have just got to come back and fit, but I think those guys have done a brilliant job. So that we've got Nitrosol at this end and we got Frontier at that end, so the count is split. But really pleased actually how they're sitting in there. That's been a project that almost has been developed over, it must be 4 or 5 years now that I've been threatening to sort of build the bunded area for the tanks. And because it doesn't generate an income as such, it's very difficult to justify doing it. But environmentally, etc., and with the instability in the world in terms of where fertiliser's made and shipping routes, etc., I decided that I wanted to have the stability of having a physical on site. Not that the previous relationship wasn't working where it was on their site, but I just felt that this was the right thing to do, and they've facilitated by putting the tanks in, because it's Nitrosol, a great Yarmouth product, and then Frontier's the intermediate that's organising it and also funding the cash flow terms of it. So that's why there's 2 lots of tanks, 10 each, sorry. No, that's not correct, hold on. 3 are mine, that's right, and 1 was theirs previous. So, yeah. But anyway, that's now started to take shape, and we've got the small tank there so we can start to build the biobed aspect of spillages. These guys are now getting on quite well with the concreting. They had to wait just for the lorry to come in so that they could get the last few tanks in today. They're now going to finish that off, so it's ready for another pour. So it's starting to get a bit of a scale across the area in terms of size. And the walling, you can see the walling they've put in where they've pre-built that in cast in situ. So that's then meaning that the wall will get put up against, the stone will get put up against the wall, and that will get concreted up against it. So any side loading from the concrete yard now won't drift, because the wall will hold it back, especially with it going up the slope. That will enable that area in the bottom there to actually then get prepared and get concreted. And then we've got the foundation bolts coming down. So yeah, it's starting to take shape now. It's going to be quite a usable area hopefully this yard. And then we've got a bit of dressing to do around the outside. But so the guys are just currently on wheat. We're on the last block of wheat, which is over in Bedford. So they should finish that estimated about 5 o'clock. They'll come back over here to Cambridge where we've got the oats, spring oats to do. And then we've got circa 300 hectares of spring oats to combine. And then we will look to give people a rest and a celebration for completing the main bulk of harvest. We tried the mustard earlier, 23% moisture, that needs to be under 9, so that's not fully fit, so we're going to have to wait for probably till at least mid next week. We've got hot temperature tomorrow, they're saying 32, 33 degrees, so that might change things. That will bring it on a bit quick. It's quite quick how it goes from 23 down to 9, so we'll see what next week comes of it, and then get the last bit mopped up. But we don't need all 4 combines doing the mustard. That's just sort of slow, steady, win the race. The other guys can get on with spraying and cultivation. So it'll be good to make a bit of a difference across the land, getting across the Glyn. Raymond and Freddie have done really well. Freddie's just finished a bit of subsoiling he had to do. He's now going to put the Joker on, and then he's going to get cracking up in Lincolnshire. We're going to run the second Joker next week as well in Lincolnshire. So that will be 2 up there. The 2 Trianos have got some not that much work to do left in Cambridge, and then they'll be going to Links, and so we'll be having 4 cultivations running up there, and then back down to Cambridge to do some other areas. So good, yeah, it's going well. It's going really well. They're all going fairly steady, not to break anything, but Simon's had a bit of work to do this last few days. The chase have been coming down from Grantham on Monday morning, just before he hit the A1, I mean, what a bit of luck. The bearing failed on the slip road coming out of Grantham to go onto the A1, and Paul went up there, Simon went up there, little Will went, Logan was behind in the Bowser, Shane was driving, and they've managed to take the wheel off, try and get the half shaft back in, couldn't get it in, the stub shaft, sorry, couldn't get it back in, then found that the bearings had basically melted onto the shaft, and we had to get Ratcliffe's out, who's a fantastic company locally that looks after us in terms of recovery, because it does happen. And they came and picked it up on a low loader. They got a low loader that came out wide. Tom's going to put some pictures up of this. It goes out wide so they could get the chaser bin on, because that was obviously the wheels on one side were slightly out. And then they brought it back to the farm here. Simon's going to get it stripped down when he gets these various other things. We had an exhaust come off a Hilux. A glow plug failed on a Transit, but the issue with that is it sent it into limp mode. So we've got the new glow plugs, got to fit those, put the new exhaust on, which you should get. And it's funny how you get all these funny little problems happen at once, but we won't get to use that chaser bin this season now with them finishing the wheat, and then we can cope with 3 on the oats, and then we'll only need 1 on the mustard, as long as we've got a lorry running with it. So not expecting the biggest yield in the world on the mustard. Guys are doing really well over here. If you pan round, Tom, you can see in the yard here that Gordon and Steve are busy getting the seed done, so that they're processing the seed ready for drilling. So we've got multitude of varieties. We've got Cheer, Vibe, Crusoe, and we've got some Hexton, some X-Days, and also they've got potentially the beans if we want to use that. And we've also got the peas up in Lincolnshire now. They're going off, so it doesn't look like we're going to be growing peas this next year. And the seed has turned up for the rape. Seed beds are ready, just waiting for the moisture. I want to flush to get the hybrid barley, etc., growing, get that sprayed off, then be able to go in with the drilling the also rape. I need the moisture, but this warm weather and the right moisture, it will go like absolute stink. And I suspect there's some residual nitrogen left in the land from the springtime where we didn't get to utilise it all. So yields wise, we're on second wheat at the moment. We're still averaging a fraction above 8.3 corrected, so I'm pretty pleased about that. And oats will be interesting to see what that does. Small bit of spring barley to make the beer. That's the Arrow variety, so that's RAGTs, so quite interested to see what that does. I think they'll be keen to see what the result is. And yeah, I mean, it's I don't know if it's an anticlimax or whether it's a relief. I think this type of weather for harvesting is the best you could ever ask for. From my point of view, a dry harvest is a wonderful harvest for me. Having to put the dryers on and struggle in the wet is just hard work. This is going really well for us, and all these diggers over here, they belong to a wonderful chap who unfortunately passed away this last week, called Stephen Green, and wonderful guy. Got a tremendous amount of love and respect for him. He was just such great straight humour, and he's been very kind to us while we've been farming in Lincolnshire. He's just down the road, and he supported this business with hiring us machinery so that we could do the construction or digging up ditches through the winter. So it's love out to his family. Very sorry that he's passed away, and I've got some very happy memories of him. But, so 2 other great people have passed away, unfortunately, in this last month that I'm in the Worship Company of Farmers with, Hugh Wykes and Christopher Day. 2 guys I've been on holidays with the Worship Company of Farmers to 2 different places, and I hope their families are doing well. 2 amazing people. I've met some amazing people in my life, and these 3 have certainly been some of them.
Afternoon everyone, it is the 28th of July, still no rain. In my opinion, it's worse than last year. Ground seems that much more harder this year than last year, and we thought that was bad enough. So it's much the same story, having to go over cultivations twice with a Toronto. I did manage to plough a couple of fields that didn't have any cropping in them. so there was a bit of moisture in the ground. We then tried a wheat field, but it was just too hard, couldn't get the depth, wasn't ploughing right, shaking the bits out of the legs, so knocked that on the head. Then I jumped on my Toronto, so yeah, we're going over all fields twice, 2 inches then 4 inches, and snail's pace again, 7.5k, second time over, between 6 and 7 on the first pass. No rain forecast, although Tom's just said we're going to get 9 mil on Sunday, but I don't believe him. We did have just about enough to wet the ground Sunday night, just gone. So yeah, but having said that, because we started too early, I think we've got one more block of wheat stubble to get over in Cambridge, then that's the wheat stubble in Cambridge done, I think. So we will be up in sticks and going off to Lincolnshire, I think, because they finished combining up there yesterday, was it, Tom? So they're all down at Bedford now. But yeah, it's just hard and rough, getting through a lot of steel, a lot of points, snapping quite a lot of bolts. Early on we were snapping bolts, so we've slowed it right down. It's like I say, it's just a twin of last year really. We thought we were going to have a normal year and crack along at 12k, do it once, but it's not the case. It's good news for me because I get to spend more time on this, but not good news for James because it's costing him more money. But that's the way it is. We can't sit still and not do anything.
No mould draining this year?
No moulding. It's way too dry for that. It's like I say, when I went ploughing, it was beginning of July. I was ploughing, and because there was nothing grown in the fields that I ploughed, and it's a relatively light bit of land anyway. There was quite a bit of moisture there, and it actually ploughed up lovely. And that sort of gave us a false sense of hope. Well, gave me a false sense of hope anyway, because I went to plough some wheat stubble thinking, yeah, I'm sorted now. And it was too dry. I did 2 bouts and looked at it, and James was going, oh, keep trying. I was like, nah, this ain't happening. We would have just ended up breaking something and it would have looked awful, and everyone would have said, Glyn can't plough, and I can't be dealing with that. So yeah, that's we're not going to do any, I don't think. We might. I don't know if we'll do any autumn ploughing. I don't know if James will risk leaving some in case we get some rain. I suspect not. So
are you expecting to come straight off the cultivator onto the drill, or do you think there'll be a little break?
The way we're getting on at the moment, I think there'll be a bit of a break. I mean, there's just nothing growing at all. The stuff that we first cultivated 3 weeks ago, you know, there's no green, there's just nothing growing because there's no moisture. So we're going to want some weather, want stuff to chit so we can get a spray off before we do any drilling. So,
for those who don't understand why, what are we spraying for?
So, for example, we're going to grow some rape this year, so the rape is going into our barley stubble. So before we drill any rape in that field, we want a chit of all the volunteer barley seeds, any black grass, anything like that. We want some rain for that to start growing so that we can spray it off, and then you end up with a clean seed bed ready for the rape to go in. So, and that's the same across all the board, you know. It's you want to start with a blank canvas, a clean field. So, and that is the only trouble with, you know, drilling as early as we do. You don't always get it, or you don't always get as much come up, because obviously once you've cultivated the field, everything's at different depths, different stages. So yeah, we could really do with sort of 3 or 4 days rain, a couple of days off. That'd be nice, James. But I don't think there's anything significant forecast, not enough to stop us at the moment anyway. It would take a lot of rain. It's a year on with the crawler, still love it. When I first got on the Toronto, I was getting error codes. Basically it was stopping me driving which turned out to be 2 sensors on the gearbox. Took 20 minutes for Chandler's to sort that out, and since then, touch wood, it's been good as gold. James is, now we've got the Telematics on the other 2 crawlers, the 1165s. James can compare fuel usage and everything, and James is gobsmacked at how good this is on fuel. I suspect he probably wishes he had 3 of these, because my average for the day so far is 35 litres an hour of fuel, which is, you know, 670 horsepower. I know we're not using all that power because we're going gently with it, but it's still pretty incredible, to be honest. And the other thing about this, at a push, I could, the way it's going at the moment, I could do 3 days on a tank, whereas the other crawlers are still chugging through it, need filling up every day. So the cost of fuel at the moment, it's you work it out over a year, it's quite a big saving. So not sure how the 9RX would have been on fuel. It was when
it's
we
still in your mind, is it?
When we tried it, I was thinking about it the other day. It's only because I was in the field that I demoed it in. And I remember back from that video, there were some aerial shots of the Tirano and all the cracks in the ground, and that field was exactly the same this year. Just big gnarly lumps busting off the top. But you know, we can't do anything about it. We just got to crack on. The stuff where there's been no wheelings that is coming up is surprisingly good, to be honest, considering there's literally no moisture at all. I mean, looking at the back of the Tirano, you've got the soil on soil, the press rings on the back of the Tirano have got a groove, a channel, and that's called a soil on soil packer. Now normally they fill up with soil, hence the name of them, soil on soil packer, but a lot of the rings are absolutely spotless and shiny. There's just nothing to stick to them. Dust is an issue. As you can see now, you can't really see the rear packer, which is not handy because the odd field we've got has got some fairly big rocks in it, and if you get a rock in it, it will tend to jam the packer up, and then you end up dragging a massive heap of soil along. Then you have to sort that out. So being able to see the machine would be good, and it's even worse obviously at night time under the lights. Need to pick our fields going, depending on what you want, a sideways wind all the time really, then you can see it. But I'm just nitpicking. I should stop moaning really. I'm having a good time. So I'm in the cool, 28 degrees outside, 18 in here.
Just got back to the workshop, and Raymond's just had to weld up one of the spokes. So the spokes on these rings here, the one on that far side is just broken. He's had to come back and weld that up. I think the hard ground with the big lumps is causing a couple of those to break up. We've had to order a whole back, one for the Joker, snapped in half, welded it up, and it's gone again. So just ordered a complete new one of the doubles. So that other Joker I showed you the other day, that actually didn't have this double packer on it, only had a single, like a DD ring. So the amount of string though, quite frightening how much string the cultivators are picking up. I think we need to slap somebody's hands. So we're just down in the Bedfordshire-Hertfordshire border. So we're on second wheats, and it's going quite well. And you can see the sort of the Chiltern Hills are up here in the background. And I've got Tim from Germany here.
Yes,
and I have actually just had to check, but he really is called Tim, and he's not just translated it just for the English. But Tim's been spending quite a lot of time in Australia.
Yes, actually, yeah.
And he works for Claas, is that right?
Not directly for Claas. I'm working for a company called Agri Experts, so we're working quite close together with Claas in general. So in this case, Claas UK imported us more or less, to say in these words, to support your farmers to make sure you get the best out of your conditions and your machines, especially in these conditions, which are pretty dry. which is not really common for the UK. We need to talk about to be more gentle with the machine, to not overload the sieves, to get a lower amount of sieve losses, but maximum amount of throughput. So that's the reason why I'm here, and to teach the operators actually. Yeah.
And you were saying, Tim, that the conditions that we're operating in at the moment are not dissimilar to your experience of Australia.
Well, they're quite similar to the experience out of Australia. So we have grain moisture around 11% in this field now, really dry straw, slightly higher yields, which is probably not as high as you would like to have it, slightly higher than Australia. But if you just look to the settings of the machine, and I will show somebody a picture of the settings, you wouldn't imagine that it's in England. You probably would think it's in a really dry country like Croatia or Canada, not Canada, like Australia. Yeah, so it's really interesting this season. It's quite, let's say, different to what you're used to.
So we were just saying, Tim, that one of the challenges in which we've had this season is we've really struggled with the chaff element.
Yes.
And the heads still staying on the stalk in part, and so we've been trying to make sure we clear up the sample. So typically when we're this date of the 27th of July, we would be on about day 2 of probably doing wheat now. So often the straw would be a lot sappier, a lot greener.
Yes.
The conditions would be more as you would expect a maritime climate. We're obviously now where the straw is very brittle. There's a lot of dust, as you can see, coming off, and we're getting a little bit more chaff to deal with than we typically would. So I was explaining to you earlier about when I sort of grew up with the straw walker machines, I would have gone faster on the drum, I'd have opened up the drum, etc. And you're saying now with these hybrid machines, actually you're going almost in reverse order to as I would do it.
Yeah, so we have hybrid machines, so we have a threshing system at the front, which doesn't need to be aggressive because it's easy threshing, the straw is easy to break. That's the reason why we want to slow down the drum to produce less short straw, and less short straw falls on our sieves, so we're not overloading them as much anymore. If we grab the heads and just rub them in our hands, easy threshing conditions, the problem is because of the quick and dry finish of the crop itself, it's hard to get these white tips, I think you call them, threshed out. So we have to find a good, let's say, compromise, balance or whatever between have a wide open concave to have good capacity and soft threshing, but still try to get the white tips out. And one good thing how to do that is to be gentle at the front, so under our threshing mechanism, slow down the drum, keep in, let's say, acceptable concave clearance. At the moment the machines are running between 25 and 27 mil, so quite wide open. But then try to catch our white tips with our lower sieve and bring them back to our returns to rethresh them.
Okay, so just put it in perspective. What would, if you went on the Claas settings within there, would we be at 10 mil as opposed to 25?
Well, 10 mil means you're really aggressive at the front, can work. It's probably an easy way how to solve that problem. But the problem you get then is that you over threshing it. And broken grains and overloading your sieves again, so less capacity. And we try to get the best out of the machine with a good balance between acceptable amount of losses, clean sample in this case because we need to clean it up, and good capacity.
So just to recap, that one of the two areas that combines struggle with is overloading the sieve so it starts to throw it out the back of the sieves, and also overloading the rotors so it comes out of the rotors and then through the straw that we're laying here.
Well, yeah, we have to separate that. So the rotor, obviously hybrid machines, threshing at the front, rotor at the back, just for separation. And these machines have heaps of room for separation. So at the moment, separation is not a massive problem. We have to find the balance between not to speed up the rotors too much, to not overload our sieves too much, but also be quick enough on the rotor to get the grain out of our straw at the end of the day. And that's a balancing act which I explained to the operators at the moment. So at the end of the day, we changed from more or less 4 rotor flats which have been closed down to 2 open, sometimes 3 open, to get more out of the straw. But we slowed down the rotor quite a bit to not smash the straws, to not threshing is the wrong word, so not knocking the straw or cutting the straws too much down. to make sure less material falls down on our sieves. So that's the principle behind
So
it. Yeah.
if we break, because the straw's so brittle, if we break it up too much, it again falls down onto the sieves, overloads the sieves, which then slows us down again.
Yeah.
So the output reduces.
Yeah.
Mostly from setting up the machine wrong.
Well, I don't want to blame anyone, but yeah, mostly because of that. Yeah.
So I mean, these are probably we're in a particular skills at the moment out here for the not typical of the UK harvest.
No, definitely not. No.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen probably a typical conditions up in Scotland or whatever, so I do it around the whole world.
Yeah.
And up there was something you probably would have been used to, like tough straw, green straw, rotor quite quick, rotor flaps open to get rid of the grain separation, and the drum more aggressive at the front. In this case, as I told already, completely opposite. So actually it's comparable to Australian conditions here.
So just to recap, where are you going in the world on an annual basis to make sure combines are set up right?
Well, we work through the whole world more or less. So I'm not alone. There's a whole team of people like me.
Yeah.
And just at the moment, the first person arrived in Kazakhstan just yesterday. The other person just finished the harvest in Romania. We are also in Canada, USA, quite a bit in Australia. So whole Australia, west, east, and south, most of the time.
New Zealand?
New Zealand as well.
Where have you been in the last 12 months?
Oh, I have to remember. New Zealand, Australia, Croatia, Germany, obviously. So through whole Germany.
Yeah.
England, if you want to say England and Scotland, so different countries. I think that's a topic here.
Only for the Scottish.
Yeah. Where else I've been? Training. I make trainings in Dutch or Netherlands, you call them. That's it for me personally. But when I started it, so I had 6 years, or I'm doing this job since 6 years. During that time, I also visited countries like Turkey, Romania, Serbia. What else is on the list? I actually have to look it up. So I visited 16 countries so far to set up combines, every range.
Are they always Lexian Claas combines, or do you have to put a different shirt on?
No, good question, but now mostly Claas combines.
Okay.
And I also look after forage harvests, so Jaguars.
Okay.
So that's part of my job.
Interesting job.
Yeah, I can't complain. You see a lot of different places in the world.
Yeah.
And what I really like about this job is like you get to know areas where you would never be as a tourist.
Yeah.
So, for example, you guys show me a local pub, which I would probably never have visited before, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I really like this, and to get to know how farming works in different areas of the world.
Yeah.
If you go to Kazakhstan, they have average yields about 0.5 to, let's say, 3.5 tons a hectare of wheat.
Yeah.
But the farms are massive big. So actually one farmer owns around 100,000 hectares.
Yeah. Extraordinary.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting. Yeah.
So currently in the workshop, Raymond's had a bolt break on the back of the Toronto, so he's just fixing that. He's then off to Gravely, then he's off up to Lincolnshire. Freddie's just having the discs, changing the discs, servicing the Challenger, and so he's just getting them changed. That's the difference in the terms of the wear rate, what's happened. So change those. Then he's off up to Lincolnshire to cultivate up behind the sludge that's been spread. Raymond's also going up, so he's got a broken bolt, which is sort of one of these back frame on. So he's busy just going to change that. Freddie, when he goes in the morning, he'll pick up a couple of those bolts as well, so that will be ideal. Gone through quite a few tyres this year. They're wearing, look. See that splitting there. Yeah, there's quite a few. Really splitting actually, the cords on that tyre's finished. Retake number 2 due to a technical difficulty Tom just had, but anyway, we're just looking at the telematics of the Claas over the 4 combines. So you got 1 and 2 here, so you got Chris and Tom, and then you got Kieran and Sandy. So they typically work in pairs of that, which is pretty good because these guys are going to do drills, drilling, and these guys are going to do spraying together. So it's quite good getting them to work in teams, then they understand each other and it's working well. So West Hay's the last field of wheat that we got to harvest. Kieran and Sandy are just finishing that one off. What I quite like about this Telematics is that it does show you the directional travel of the passes, and you can see by the colours. So obviously, Chris has done this, and then Tom has come in here, and this is the first field they opened up to get the combines in. And then you can see they've sort of split the field 50-50. Same here, same up here. So working quite efficiently in that sense. And then they'll get this done. These two will come over there in a minute, get that done. Then that's the wheat finished, and then they'll bring the combines back to Cambridge. Tomorrow we're on to oats, so fingers crossed they're dry enough to go. And temperature's quite warm today. It's muggy though. Started off damp this morning. You know, that sort of not October, but you know, that damp start. It was like that this morning, where you can just feel that the climate's changing. And if we're lucky, we will finish Thursday night on the oats, which will be, I think, a great relief for everybody. They've worked very hard, and I think that they've really pushed on and slept away from home, etc. So they'll be pretty happy to have a bit of time off, especially if there's good weather. There's nothing better than good weather and sitting in your garden. So doing a great job, and very proud of my team. Anyway, so we will look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Tom will be here on Friday. We'll do a bit more filming, see where we've got to, see if we've got the oats done, etc. Do some clean down on a couple of the combines, because those guys will be on to other things next week. We've got more cultivation happening, and we've got the guys coming and start spreading the sewage, and Henry's got to continue to bale up behind us, and then get the bales continually outloaded. So they should be, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, all the bales will have gone and be at their new home. So anyway, we look forward to seeing you later this next. Oh crumbs! What day is it today, Tom? Where are we? Tuesday.
Yeah.
This is the thing about harvest. You lose your days. You just can't, and you have to keep asking everybody, what day is it today? So you can't remember. Look forward to seeing you later in the week. All the best. Bye bye.